Welcome everybody. So I got first place at a Chaos Origins sneak peek event with RYU-GE. And as you can tell, I won the playmat. I got Field Center for participating. And I went 3-1. I'm gonna get into my matchups, why I chose the deck, and a couple of other things on like some cool things about the deck. So if you don't want to hear all that, you can just skip ahead in the video. So my matchups were round 1, I played against Branded Dracotail. It was 2-1. Game 1, I opened a bunch of hand traps and droplet going first. So I kind of just, you know how that goes. Game 2, I made the full board. It was 2 Omni Negates, a Monster Negate, and like 7+ interactions. He couldn't take it from me. And then game 3, I had too much engine to fail. I hit him with both Berlia and Fulos, and I believe I drew about 5 cards. And when he passed to me, my entire hand was engine. He just couldn't pump through all of it. Game 2, or match 2, I played against Branded Invoked Shaddoll, and it was a 2-0. My opponent bricked to game 1, and I had engine plus a couple of removal tools going second. And the game 2, I hit him with a Fulos when he went normal summon Alistair, and he was unfortunately forced to play into it to make a board. I super polyed him, I dropleted him, I hit him with a Harpy's Feathers Duster. It was just a sweep. Match 3, I played against my buddy Trevor, aka Box of Juice. He's on the team. He's on Team Night Shift. And he was on Mitsu, Fiendsmith, Crystron, just a pile deck. And he was also undefeated at the moment. But the two of us went into a double loss. And I looked at him and I was like, hey man, I can prove that you can't play through this board right now, and I can kill you next turn if you'll just give it to me. And he was like, nah, we're both taking this L. I was like, dang it, dude. You piece of crap. But it worked out in our favor anyway. So that was the loss. It was just a double loss, and I could prove that I was going to win. I was going to make 5 interactions, 2 of which were negates. Omni Negates. And there was also going to be a Macrocosmos up, which turned off half of his lines. But I didn't know what his top deck was going to be, and he didn't know what his top deck was going to be. And he said he had some Grave interaction, which was like, sure. But in round 4, I played against it was a Ryziel something, and it was a 2-0. Game 1, I opened a ton of engine. Dude didn't really know how to play against the deck. I scaled Mistva, scaled Anva, or I scaled Anva, scaled Mistva. I went effective Mistva, he went the Detonator to pop it. I chained Anva to negate, he went Detonator to pop it. I was like, okay, cool. And then I went, hey, because he did that, I'm going to thrust for a droplet. Or excuse me, I went Anva effect, he negated it with cross. I went thrust, or didn't thrust for droplet, excuse me. I'm thinking of a different game, and I didn't thrust for droplet there, I thrusted for Raigeki, but anyway. I went thrust for terraforming, activated terraforming, grabbed the field spell, and then I forced out the other, I think I had a Hakba in hand, and I forced him to use the detonator on the Stormwinds because he didn't know exactly how it interacted. And then I went field spell, summoned everything because the Pendulum was an extra deck, and then just when battle phase, hit him for a shit ton of damage, booked one thing on back row with Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. It was really good. And then game 2, I hit him with 3 hand traps and the 3 cards I had left in hand were exactly all engine, and he couldn't break it, so it was literally it was literally Onva, Mistva, and terraforming again. And he got so mad that he stood up and he walked out. But I don't know if it was specifically because of me. I think it was also the fact that the game before, or the match before, he had a double loss from Juice as well. Because neither of them could get to lethal, and they were in game 2 for like 20 plus minutes. It was crazy. So yeah, that's how the matches went. As for the reasons why I chose to play the deck, I think it plays really well into 𝐒𝐤𝐚, and I think that's also why I did really well into RYU-GE, because RYU-GE is just table 500 𝐒𝐤𝐚, if we're being real. Like, 𝐒𝐤𝐚, a lot of their interactions are things like, oh, I'm gonna bounce your thing to hand, I'm going to destroy this, I'm going to target negate this. But RYU-GE just really does not care about most of those effects, and they have built-in engine that allows them to play around that. You can use Rising to grab Mistva, put it in extra deck. If your opponent ashes the Mistva on field, and then you can just use the field spell from your hand. If you have the field spell in your hand, you can just go Rising in draw phase, add Mistva, immediately put it in the extra deck if you're afraid of draw. There are so many ways to play around hand traps, and against 𝐒𝐤𝐚 specifically, if they pop any of your stuff, it triggers Mistva in extra deck. So there's just no good way for 𝐒𝐤𝐚 to really play around the RYU-GE cards, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to play it. Another one of the reasons why I wanted to play it is because there is a very specific combo I'm running, which you don't really see a lot of people playing the deck run this combo, and if you do, it is a much bigger package than I am running. But me personally, I think that this package that I'm running is probably one of the better ways to play the deck if you're going to games 2 and 3, going first, because it's side decked. And I'm hoping that that keeps you to the end of the video for when you can see that. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I didn't play against any 𝐒𝐤𝐚 during the sneak peek, but it still operated beautifully. The deck, I think, is positioned extremely well right now as a rogue option, and I think that people are sleeping on it, especially right now, because it's just another good way to play into 𝐒𝐤𝐚. It is a 60 card list, so just prepare yourselves, and we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. I apologize in advance if the names are kind of hard to read. I will be reading them off for you guys. So our first card is going to be 3 copies of the 𝐒𝐭 RYU-GE Mistva. This card is a 1-card starter. It's essentially the bread and butter of the deck. You scale it, and it goes effect and pendulum scale, pop itself to search for a RYU-GE, a non-pendulum RYU-GE card. It's just so good. It does everything for you. If you open this, it's probably one of maybe 2 or 3 cards that are like the best cards to open in your deck. Moving on, we've got the 3 Onva. Onva is exactly what the deck needed, and it was probably the single best support that they could have given this deck outside of a normal summon. If they were to give this deck another wave of support, I think that they should genuinely just give it a normal summon that allows you to shuffle back RYU-GE cards to draw a card, and then on as like just either a scale effect or as a base effect, and then have a normal summon effect added onto it that searches any RYU-GE card. And I think it would be perfect. And then also make it a level 2, because that would be make it a level 2 tuner, and that would be awesome. Onva essentially is just here because not only is it another name to summon off of the field spell if you brick on the Haiva and the Dino Domain, but it's also a anti-hand trap card and an anti-interaction card. forces your opponent to wait for you to be in an open game state before they decide to interact with you. And typically when they interact with Anva, it's getting destroyed in like almost any instance either way. So you can go Anva effect to place something. In the 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥 matchup, you typically place the Wormwinds because it is a well, technically a macrocosmos. Any monster sent from field to grave is banished instead. We'll get into that later. 2 𝐒𝐤𝐽𝐜, as well as 2 𝐒𝐮𝐩𝐽𝐜, and 1 𝐒𝐤𝐽. For those of you with ball knowledge, this deck is based on the same lore that the legendaries from Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald for Pokemon are based off of. You can pretty easily tell just from the color schemes of all the cards. And then also, of course, Arceus and not Arceus, Jesus Christ. I can't remember the name of it now. Anyway, moving on. 3 Manju. The deck does not have a definitive normal summon. Manju is just either at best good bait, or at worst something that you can like throw into a board. Or excuse me, at best it's full combo, or at worst it's just like bait or something you're throwing into a full board to force interaction from your opponent, either because they don't know what you're on, or because they're like, oh, I don't want you to get to the 1 card. So 1 Carbonetin, as well as 1 Guardragon Justicia. Carbonetin summons the Justicia from hand or deck, because it is a level 7 or lower vanilla dragon. And the Justicia is just here to allow you to go into Synchro 12 plays. With the names of all the RYU-GEs, because they're all level 10. This package is incredible, and every single time I was using it, it was typically breaking boards on its own, because my opponent either didn't want to interact with it, or they knew they had to interact with it, because the moment they don't interact with it is when I am already like starting to pull pieces apart from their stuff. The RYU-GE player tried to ghost spell the Carbonetin, and I had to inform him that banishes cost. And that also happened with the branded player. One of the branded players, they thought that Carbonetin was banishing itself as effect, but it banishes its cost, which is a requirement to activate. So it was pretty good. I liked it a lot. I don't think I would change anything about it. Also running 3 Moltres and 3 Perulia. This is a 60 card list, so you're kind of just like, these are both filler, but also really good if you do happen to draw them. And there are instances where normal summoning it can actually help you. For example, against RYU-GE, there was a time where I could have normaled a Perulia I had in my hand and then made an Almirage with it, and then use that to protect my Anva from their effects that would destroy. But I just chose not to. I mean, my hand was already broken, so there was just no point in doing that. But the option is there, so you can use this for some like combo lines, especially making Link 2s and stuff with it. 3 Ash Blossom, as well as 2 Droll and Lockbird. The main reason these are in here is because you do not want a Bua to resolve against you when you're trying to go full combo, because you do summon from the extra deck, and you also do summon from deck. Also, Droll not only stops the Charmies from affecting you, but it is good for using it as a crossout target, because you do die to Droll if you open only Mistva. And it's also good for just in general, like, oh, cool, you're playing against 𝐒𝐤𝐚 and they're going first. You dump Droll on them. If they don't have all of their pieces, then they just lose. Moving on to the spells, I run 3 RYU-GE Warzone. This card itself is also a 1-card combo because of a line I have in my extra deck that I think not a lot of people who have played the deck before know about. But I'll show it off later. is pretty cool. 3 RYU-GE Rising. This card is, of course, another 1-card combo. It also has an extension effect that you can use during the turn after you use... You can only use 1 effect per turn, so you have to pick and choose, like, which one you want to do. And then, for the last RYU-GE spells in main, I'm running the Wyrmwinds. This is essentially a Macrocosmos, for all intents and purposes. Any monsters sent from the field to the graveyard during your opponent's turn, any of your opponent's monsters, are banished instead. So if they're going like Link Summon or doing whatever and you have this up, their monsters are banished, but if your monsters leave the field, they don't get banished. The other effect doesn't really matter, you can just reduce a thing's attack to 0. I only use that in my RYU-GE matchup to hit over Detonator with 𝐒𝐤𝐷. I summoned the 3 bodies and I went, hey, I'm going to 𝐒𝐤𝐷, put this back, and then reduce, and then go battle phase. 1 𝐒𝐮𝐷, this card is goated. I love 𝐒𝐮𝐷. It's just another reason why, like, all 3 of the RYU-GE spells are just so good going into Cooltoon, because Wyrmwinds prevents them from doing their effects in grave. 𝐒𝐮𝐷 is a way to remove their normal summon, and then Dino Domains is another way to prevent them from using certain effects. Like if they're going to go normal summon Reco effect, you can use domains to negate activate. For more non-engine, I'm playing 3 Triple Tactics Thrust. This card is just crazy because you can either grab cards like Raigeki, Feather Duster, Subspace Battle, Melody, Terraforming. You could grab Talent, you could grab Instant Fusion. There's so many good targets in the deck that you can use it with. And most of the time, you're trading favorably with your opponent's hand traps anyway. So if you go Anva and then scale Mistva, and you try to go Mistva and then they go on an attempt to Ash, you can go Anva negate, destroy both, search for the field spell, Anva place a continuous spell or trap from deck, and then you can go Thrust to grab talents and look at their hand to see if they have any more interaction. Or excuse me, you can go Thrust. If you're going first, you can go Thrust for the trap, Rivalry, and then use that as interaction on their turn. Or if you're going second, you can use Thrust, grab talents, fish in their hand for if they have more interaction, or take a monster. Against one of my branded opponents, I actually used the Thrust to take his Mirror Jade after he had already used the effect. And I was like, yeah, this is mine now, by the way. It was really good. It was so funny. And then I linked it off for the link to that I'll show. Also playing 3 Super Poly. Super Poly is just so good right now. If you can put the Theseus in your extra deck, you definitely have the space, I promise. I wasn't running the Theseus because I genuinely didn't really need it. And also I know the Cooltoon lines where typically if they look at your hand and they see Super Poly, they're not going to end on 2 monsters. So I didn't even feel like I needed the Theseus. And the lines where even if they see that you have Super Poly or they stack Super Poly on your deck, on the top of your deck, they're ending on a worse inboard anyway, which is good for you. And if they're a bad Cooltoon player and they're just not playing around Super Poly, typically they have 2 darks on the field that you can take, because Cooltoon does run a lot of darks. 3 Forbidden Droplet. This card was crazy. I loved every second of it whenever I would see this card. You could literally go, oh, I'm going to stack, I'm going to go Frost, Pain Rising, Pain Droplet, send Hot, Rising, and Buolos from my hand to negate 4 cards. Or 3 cards, excuse me. And that actually happened in my matchup against the, against my teammate, against Juice. I negated almost his whole board. He had a monster that didn't really do anything, so I didn't negate that one. But I negated 3 things. And it was beautiful. I loved it. 3 Subspace Battle. This card is funny as fuck, by the way. For those of you that don't know, in RYU-GE, this is a +2. In Orcus, this is also a +2. So what you do with this card is you go reveal 3 monsters in sequence. So, or excuse me, reveal 1 monster and you apply this effect 3 times in sequence. So you go grab a monster, reveal, you reveal Mistfa. They probably can't reveal anything that's above 3,000. You destroy their monster and burn them for 500, and then you add the Mistfa to your hand, and you do that 2 more times after that. So typically what you do in this deck is you go Subspace Battle, reveal Mistfa, add it, burn them, reveal Anva, add it, burn them, and then if you're going second, you can go reveal Lava Golem, add it, burn them. The only stipulation is you can't use the monster effect of that card for the rest of the turn. However, pendulums are different. In Pendulum Skill, they're not monster effects, they're spell effects. And Lava Golem is not an activated effect attribute and then summon itself. So, it's just crazy good. And sometimes I would go use this to grab Carbonettin and then dump it to grave just to have it in there. Or I would grab, like, just a card I didn't want to have in deck anymore, and then burn it. Or I would grab another Mistfa just to have on the crackback, because this deck does have one glaring weakness, which is you have a lot of you don't have a lot of excuse me, you don't have a way to consistently get to another combo piece for your next turn unless you open multiples of stuff and you're playing conservatively. That's the only issue with the deck. Next up is 3 Melody of Awakening Dragon. This Subspace Battle and honestly just opening like Rising or Mistfa on its own, these are the best cards to use because they get you to more than just the field spell. Two Fallen and the Virtuous. I don't have a third, and honestly, if I had the third, I probably wouldn't have played it because it is probably the worst. It's probably the worst non-engine to like open multiples of in this deck. Like, I think I would genuinely rather open 2 Super Poly or 2 Droplet, just because you really do just want to have all of your copies of Fallen in deck rather than draw it. And before anyone says this in the comments, I know this is a 60 card list, so the odds of you opening multiples of Fallen is like non-existent. However, I don't give a shit. I still wouldn't play the third even if the math worked out in my favor, just because I felt like the room in the deck for me personally was already pretty tight. In other RYU-GE lists that are 60 cards, people are running like 1 Ash, 1 Droll, and I did not want to do that. I wanted to have more ways to interact with my opponent beyond just opening breakers and then letting them essentially nut all over the board. I wanted to be able to use my hand traps as strategic ways to deal with certain things and cut off certain lines, rather than just use them solely for cross out. So, I'm also playing 1 Pot of Prosperity. Do you like my secret German? I think it's pretty cool. I was too lazy to put in my English one. So, 1 Terraforming, as well as 1 Called by the Grave, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Instant Fusion. These are all just ways to deal with hand traps and Droll and all sorts of other stuff. Instant Fusion is really cool because you can use this to summon Mud Dragon to insulate things like Manju, or your RYU-GE monsters, like if you want to go for the Anva play, and go like dump it from hand, grab the spell, do field spell, grab, dump, revive Anva from graveyard, and then go spiral to bounce something. You can use Mud Dragon to insulate it that way. Most of the time I'm just summoning Millenniumized Restrict because it is just a match steal for hand traps and for monsters in general. The last two cards in main deck are going to be the RYU-GE Rivalry, as well as the RYU-GE End. I feel like both of these should be main decked, because they create a loop, and it's a loop that you can actually do yourself. So when you place RYU-GE End off of something like Hanwha, you can actually use your Mistva to destroy the end, and then set the rivalry. And then on your opponent's turn, you can go, oh hey, I'm going to pop my own Mistva, and then I'm going to summon it again after I pop another thing on the opponent's turn. I'm going to pop something, I'm going to pop like an Hanwha that I summoned off of Rivalry, and I'm going to use the Hanwha to place the RYU-GE End back in the back in one of my spell trap zones. And these this recycles a lot of your stuff. This puts something back, and then you can draw a card in the from the graveyard. So I felt like these are extremely important, and a lot of the games where I ended up not being able to completely lock my opponent out of the game immediately, and they were able to play through stuff, these two cards paired with each other really solidified the game state in my favor most of the time. So I think that you should play these if you can. Moving on to the extra deck, I'm running one Arcray Dragon. This is how you use the field spell as a one-card combo. Because you can go field spell, grab Hanwha, dump Carbonetin, and then banish the Hanwha, or Imba, excuse me. And then you go banish Hanwha, grab Wyrmwinds, activate Wyrmwinds, go Carbonetin, banish it to summon the Justicia. Hanwha effect will summon itself, and then from there you go Hanwha effect to put back the Wyrmwinds, add the Mistva, and then you go activate scale Mistva effect to pop itself, and then you could grab Rising to grab Hanwha. And then now that Mistva's in your extra deck, you go Warzone to summon everything, and then just do your combo from there. Now, you may be wondering, how on earth are you supposed to make this Arcray Dragon? Well, you run the Supreme King Zark Synchro Universe, which, this card, when it was announced and released, pissed me off, because this card is not even good in Zark, and it didn't really have a home anywhere, because it's just not good at all. But in RYU-GE, it has a home. So I'm a little less mad about the card now, because it actually did serve some sort of purpose. Moving on, we run the one Dragon Devours the Dogma, as well as one Albion. I don't have the Ecclesia Synchro to dump off the Fallen and the Virtuous, so these are just my two targets. If you have it, play it. If you don't, do this. For Super Poly targets, I'm running one Garura, as well as one Mud Dragon of the Swamp. And then another instant fusion target would be the Millennium Eyes Restrict. Just very good, super good. Stops the droll. You can use crack boards. It's crazy. For stuff that actually is useful and not just non-searchable, non-engine, we're running the Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon. This was super funny in a lot of my matchups, because against Invoked, I actually I used this, and I placed Alistair on back row, and later on I used this to place Faemina on back row when he was trying to grab it back with the Urgula, and I was like, yeah, this is really funny. One Glaciosaurus, I did not use this at all. You could change this this is literally just a flex spot. The theory is you summon this, and you use Mispa to pop this, so that you get you get a continuous off of it, and then it will summon itself back from the graveyard by putting back the Justicia in your deck. And a lot of the reason that you do this is either to OTK, or if you're trying to loop Misva, so like you do it on your turn, then you do it again on your opponent's turn. But it just never came up. So it's It's like whatever. Like all your stuff already is super high attack, and if your opponent hasn't stopped the field spell, which is it's like the field spell is mostly the only reason you're getting to this. So if they haven't stopped the field spell, they're probably dying anyway. So this is genuinely just a flex spot, in my opinion. Now for the rest of this package, it's kind of spicy, so this is going to get into the territory that I was talking about, where I was running a line with some cards that I think are really good in the deck, but I'm side decking them because they're not good in the deck all the time. You would rather side deck these cards more than main deck them, because in the main deck you're running more bricks and you just don't want to see that shit. So we're running a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, as well as a Dinglong First of the Yang-Zing, an 𝐒𝐮𝐤𝐢𝐚, and this is the package that I was talking about. These three right here. There's a combo I'll show you in my side deck that allows you to end on all of this as part of just the one card combo with any of your cards. One Varudris. I don't have the second Varudris. I'm not spending 20 bucks on it. So deal with it. If you have the second Varudris, you could probably cut the 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐢𝐚 and run the second Varudris. I genuinely never needed the second Varudris. I don't think you need the second Varudris. It's just, it genuinely just kind of feels like one more. And then one Armalier, the Star Leader Dragon. It's just a generic link that you can go into, and you can actually also use this to unclog your hand of RYU-GE names that you can't activate. So if you open Hakuba and the Wyrmwinds, you can summon the Armalier with just using something like normal Carbonettin, and then go link off in the Almirage, Carbonettin, summon the Link 1, or not Link 1, excuse me, the level 2 Justicia. I mean, you can't use the vanilla to make this, but there's a line. I just can't remember what the line is. I promise there's a line. I was doing combos with it before I put it in, because I saw some people running it, and I was like, I have to figure out why they're running it. But anyway, one Almirage. That's the extra deck. Really like the extra deck. The only thing I would change probably would be the Glaciasaurus, because it just genuinely didn't do anything. As for the side deck, I'm running 3 Lava Golem. This card was crazy. I did Subspace Battle for it once, and I won that game immediately. It was crazy. It was against the Shaddoll. It was against the branded Shaddoll Invoked player. I went Subspace, grabbed Mistva, Onva, and this. He had a Wenda, a Caliga, and a Mirror Jade, and a couple of set back row, and I literally went, I'm gonna Lava Golem the Wenda and the Caliga. And then after that, I literally went, oh, by the way, that other fusion you have, the Mirror Jade, I'm going to Virtuous it. He was like, ah, damn. Or no, excuse me, I Virtuoused it first so that he couldn't use the effect, because he'd already used a monster effect that turn. And then I went Lava Golem over the Wenda and the Caliga. And then I went Onva, Mistva, and then just did my thing. Now, here's the territory that gets into the cool combo. It's gonna be one Zhao-Tu, Darkness of the Yang-Zing. And I apologize that it's hard to see the name. The lighting, fucking atrocious. I need to get a better camera. One Flamvel Guard. This is the Carbonettin target. One Sleeting Oviraptor, as well as one 9 Pillars the Yang-Zing. You might be thinking to yourself, wow, that's 4 cards you're using in side deck, why are you doing that? And let me just tell you, number one, your end board without this package is 1 Omni Negate and maybe like 7-8 interactions. Your board with this stuff is going to be 2 Omni Negates, a Monster Negate, and also 7 to 8 more interaction. Okay, So if you're citing this stuff in, and it's all part of the 1-card combo, even if you open some of it, that's completely fine, it doesn't matter. You can open some of it and still do the combo regardless. If you open the Oviraptor, you go, oh cool, normal Oviraptor effect. If you open the Carboneddon, you go, oh cool, normal Carboneddon. Link, summon Flameball Guard. Do the same thing. You can even do it with, like if you open Manju, you can go normal Manju, grab Misva, Misva pop, grab Field Spell activate, grab the Carboneddon, dump it to graveyard, Carboneddon, summon the Flamebell Guard, and then you go Link or Synchro into the Dinglong with the Manju and the Flamebell Guard, and then you're doing the same exact combo. But the reason I run the Oviraptor is because typically, with my side deck pattern, I side out the Manjus. I side out some of the Manjus and I put in the Oviraptor just as a target to search off of the field spell, because I know that it will get to the Carboneddon, and I don't have to grab it off of the field spell. Plus, the Oviraptor is a level 4, and you want to have the level 4 plus the level 1 to make the Dinglong. Very important. For the other cards, a lot of these are kind of just thrust targets. So it's going to be 1 Duster, 1 RYU-GE, 1 Crossout. Crossout, not a thrust target, obviously, but I sided in going first with the other 4 cards, and they trade out really well for the Moltarmies. So in siding patterns, I would typically take out the Charmies, and I would also take out random like other stuff like the Justicia, and then some Manjus to fit in the going first package that fit in really well. And then going second, you typically just take out stuff that's not good in the matchup, and you put in stuff like Harpies and RYU-GE to grab off of Thrust. Also because you're running a lot of board breakers in the first place, or just interaction that you can use against your opponent if you're going second, you don't really need a ton of board breakers in the list anyway, because you're probably going to be opening like anywhere between 1 to 3 in any given hand. For the rest of the cards, these are kind of just like matchup dependent, and then just good stuff for going first. So I'm running 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. You can actually use this on the Enva because it's a dark with 2500 or more attack. The Full Force Virus, same deal. Also, the Varudris is a dark with 3k attack, 3k defense. So all these also work with the Varudris after you use the negate. 1 DDG, 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Judgment. You can kind of see how this deck is geared more to deal with Cooltoon than anything else, because out of all the cards in your deck, so you have Erad to deal with the Synchros and force them to fire them off immediately. You can also use the Erad to hit any like good generic stuff they might have, like Triple Tactics Talent, or if they search the field spell in their combo, you can hit the field spell with it. Full Force just annihilates their entire hand. Except for, I guess, like hand traps or something, but typically when you resolve Full Force, it will just nuke their hand. And then I also was playing Full Force because it hits more matchups than just Cooltoon. You'll see some people, they might use Deck Dev instead of Full Force against Cooltoon. But I liked Full Force because it hit more matchups that weren't Cooltoon than it hit Cooltoon. And then obviously the DDG is pretty good against Cooltoon as well, because it turns off some of their lines, or excuse me, it turns off most of their lines, and they have to do the weird play where they're going into like back-to-back with Chaos Angel. And you're stopping that nonsense immediately, especially because your board can't really be super polyed. And your board is also extremely hard to deal with because it's a layered interaction. Like the moment they start removing stuff from your board, you go, okay, I'm gonna go Misfo effect an extra deck, tribute, summon, pop, place, you know, that sort of thing. The cards I saw in my side deck all day, I saw a DDG because I thrusted for it. I saw Harpies and RYU-GE because I drew into both of them. And then I subspaced for the lava golems. I didn't see any of these though, which was fine because I didn't need them. So feel free to experiment with the side deck. This is kind of just what I wanted to test out, and it went really well. I loved this package. And if you want to know how this package works and like what you're supposed to do with it, comment down below. I will make a combo guide. This video is already like 30 minutes long for a deck profile, so I just didn't want to make it like 2 hours long. Because I know that the combo video probably would be. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. The deck was genuinely some of the most fun I've had this format, because I've been on mostly Coltoon this format, and I wanted to try something new, something different, and I think that the next deck I'm probably going to pick up and experiment with is going to be Live Twin Fiendsmith. However, my Fiendsmith stuff came in, but the vendor did not put the Desiree with my mail, so I have to message them on TCG Player and say, hey man, I'm missing this Desiree. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, and make sure to drink lots of water. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful week, and a wonderful life. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. If you didn't like the video, feel free to dislike it. It doesn't hurt my feelings.